Hello, BookTube. I have another poem for you today. It's a new day. Why not another poem? And it's a lovely one today, but a little sad. I have a feeling that some of the poems we'll read this week will be a little sad. A lot of beautiful poems are, though, and that's part of the fun of them. So this is by Stepanchev, who lived to a ripe old age and was a really well-regarded, lauded poet in his day, and it's called Salem, Eleanor. And it goes like this. Salem Eleanor is dead at last. She is lying in the dirt with her ancestors, long exhausted by her maledictions and the colon cancer that spread to her jaw and throat and sheared off her hair and blew her appetite. But she left no will, no letter, no blink of eye. But she loved the plum blossoms of our rusty spring, and the acacias wrapped in silence and flushing fog, and the red, wrinkled mouths of poppies in July, and the thick, ropey veins of cabbages. And she liked music, flawed though it might have been. Now I lie in bed, trying to sleep. An alley cat I saved from a heap of ash leaps up beside me, joyous, his engine running. I am wholly his own, he knows. He drinks my breath. I think I can interpret, I could be wrong, there is no definitive proof in the text, but I think Salem Eleanor was a cat who got sick and had cancer that spread to the hair and the jaw and whatnot, and eventually died and lies in the dirt with her ancestors. I think probably that line, she liked music, is imperfect as it was, probably is an inside joke. It probably is the poet remembering a specific cat, probably named Salem Eleanor, who liked music but clearly didn't love it. And if I'm right that Salem Eleanor is a cat, then the heartbreak, the 1-2 emotional punch of this poem comes in the final stanza. Because the final stanza starts, now I lie in bed trying to sleep, and you think you know where the rest of it is going, right? The inconsolable grief that would lead you to pen a poem about a dead cat would also prevent you from sleeping. You're expecting that the final closing lines of this poem are going to be misery, that the bed is empty now that Salem Eleanor is gone. But no, that isn't what the rest of it is. An alley cat I saved from a heap of ash leaps up beside me, joyous, his engine running. I think a reference to the sound that cats make when they're really happy, that kind of circular, abrasive purring that they do. I am wholly his own, he knows. He drinks my breath. If I'm right, then this poem is a very good evocation of the natural rhythm of having a beloved pet, which is that they're gone at last. And it's that first line, Salem Eleanor is dead at last, that betokens a long struggle, a long wait, a long process. It feels long. In the calendar, it never is. Animals that have long illnesses never have long illnesses the way humans have long illnesses, but it feels that way. And the disappearance, the first stanza is Salem Eleanor's death and disappearance. But the long second stanza is the narrator of the poem almost involuntarily remembering how profuse and colorful and wonderful the living world is, which is the kind of thing, it's the kind of realization that breaks in on you in the midst of your grief over losing a beloved animal. If you're grieving correctly, if you're grieving healthily, then after a little while, you're going to start to notice those things yourself. You're going to start to remember. You're going to start to remember the positives. The happy memories are going to come through. And if you're really grieving healthily, there'll be another beloved animal right there. Doesn't remember Salem Eleanor at all. It's just, they know that you are wholly theirs. They drink in your breath. Entirely in the present. No lying in the dirt with ancestors, no long struggles, no nothing like that. All the wonders of the natural world captured in the second stanza are now going to be enjoyed by someone else, and you right along with them. Now, I could be wrong. I don't think this poet is still alive, and I'd be pretty embarrassed if it turned out that Salem Eleanor was his wife, but I don't think so. I think, and even if Salem Eleanor in the original genesis of the poem was his wife, the author's only another critic. The poem, I think, yields to a reading in which Salem Eleanor was an old, sick cat. And if I'm wrong about that, that would be pretty embarrassing. But if I'm right about that, I think it captures perfectly the cycle of being a pet person. They live so much faster than we do. You are going to see off several of them in your own lifetime. I think it's lovely. Just lovely. I love the counterbalance between the grim terminology of the first stanza, the burst in color and life of the second stanza, and then an almost resigned willingness to accept that life goes on in the third stanza. I think that's just lovely. So maybe not a sad poem after all. But anyway, that's our poem for today, Salem, Eleanor. And I'll be back with another poem tomorrow. So we'll see what we have then. Thank you, BookTube.